Once again, thank you very much for your patience and apologies for the delay. Today is Human Development, Children and Youth, Health and Education Day, and I'm delighted to introduce to the panel today. We have Minister Emin Amrullayev, Minister of Science and Education from Azerbaijan. We have Minister of Labor and Social Protection, Sahil Babayev. We have Teymur Musayev, Minister of Health from Azerbaijan. We have the high-level UN Climate high-level champion for COP29, Nigar Arbadaray. And to my right, Jala Ibrahimova. She's the Presidency Action Agenda lead. We will start with remarks, and Minister Amrullayev will start. Just to let you know, he needs to leave shortly, and after his remarks, you have the chance for one of two questions. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear media representatives, that's a great pleasure to greet you in Baku within the COP29. I do believe that that's a great opportunity for many stakeholders to have a right platform for discussion and dialogue. Well, very briefly about education, definitely Azerbaijan continues his efforts for to make the climate change part of the curricula. But our main initiative within this COP, because we have tried to make sure that it's not only national agenda, also the global agenda, to introduce first time the assessment of climate literacy or environmental literacy as a part of international assessment projects, namely PISA. Together with OECD and UNESCO, we came up with the initiative to develop the new assessment framework for the environmental literacy. For very, again, description of the measurement tools, it's not something as a separate measurement tool within PISA. As you know, PISA measures reading, mathematics, and science. So on top of these three domains, the suggestion is to measure environment literacy as a result of the different type of action taken by different governments, by different ministries of education. The process will continue up until 2029, so you can even call it from COP29 to PISA 29 for next 5 years, and I do believe that the results of the first measurement will be available by 2030 December. So we do hope that many countries will join this initiative and will have first time evidence-based results of the green education in different countries, because so far there are a lot of discussions, there are a lot of good practices and lessons learned, but we don't have any data-driven or any data oriented results which can be comparable across the countries or through the different years. And the second initiative, which will today, I think we are very much excited to get to know through the QS University ranking, the next sustainable university sustainability ranking of the universities for next year. It will be announced in Green Zone at 7 p.m. I do believe that that will be also a very good discussion, how the universities can become greener, and this ranking definitely gives a lot of insights about the different approaches, different indicators, and different type of methodologies to measure sustainability within higher education institutions. That's, I think, broadly speaking, the two major initiatives within the COP. And on top of it, definitely curricula, teacher training, green schools, infrastructure issues, and all other related topics are also discussed with the esteemed colleagues. Basically, we hope that this discussion will add up and will make the education, climate education, better in different jurisdictions. Thank you. If there will be questions, I will be happy to answer.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Minister Amrullayev? Yes, here in the lady in the green jacket, please.
Hello, I'm Rahila Hamidova from Azerbaijan TV. My question is for you, Mr. Amrullayev. During today's discussions, it was emphasized that Azerbaijan's STEAM education has been effective in equipping the students with knowledge and skills related to environmental sustainability. What are the future plans for expanding this initiative? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. Yes, we are, as a Ministry of Education and Science, we started STEAM, education, science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics as a combination, or as a, let's say, the horizontal integration of the different subjects 6 years ago. At the moment, we have around 500 schools, slightly more than 100,000 kids engaged in this initiative. So basic idea is that moving away from these subjects approach education, where you teach physics, chemistry, mathematics, but you don't really explain to children why do you do it, and they're just memorizing certain type of formulas and then they don't understand how to apply it. With the STEAM education, basically parallel, it can be also understood as a project-based learning. So basically, what we try to achieve is that at different classes, at different ages, to make sure that the kids, they complete certain projects, and with these projects, they have different aspects of the different topics, including, let's say, as an example, for today, climate change, meaning that so you don't teach it only through some fundamental science, but you teach it through art, you teach it through the technology, you teach it through the science, mathematics, but at the end of the learning process, you have certain outcomes which are the result of the project which is run or which is implemented by the group of students. So it also fosters, I do believe, that the certain teamwork, again, among our students. And every year we hold so-called STEM Azerbaijan Festival, SAF. Recently we had more than 20 countries participating in STEAM Azerbaijan Festival, and we do believe that what we observe, actually, kids like it. We see very much engagement by the schools and the students, and it definitely increases the motivation of learners to be more engaged. And I do believe that it's a right approach. I mean, it's the way we should continue, because when you talk about climate change education, doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have a separate subject on climate change. It means that climate change should be across all the subjects, and it should be always part of the curriculum, part of the teacher's focus, and it doesn't matter what subject is taught by the teacher. STEAM, I think, in that sense, is the right methodology or relevant methodology which is applied at the moment in different schools of Azerbaijan, and we do believe that we will reach, actually we are aiming to double the numbers by 2026 and to reach around 250,000 students in schools of Azerbaijan covered by this methodology.
Thank you. One more question here on the aisle.
Hello, Joe Lowe from Climate Home News. I just wondered what the curriculum will teach about the role of fossil fuels in causing climate change. Thank you.
Sorry, can you repeat? I missed the...
What will the curriculum teach about the role of fossil fuels in causing climate change?
Okay. Thank you very much. So definitely I think that what matters when we talk about the education and the climate change, I mentioned it today morning, it's not only about the knowledge, it's also a matter of attitude, because the person can be knowledgeable but not necessarily having the same, let's say, relevant attitude for the change, right? So the key component, I think, what we are trying to achieve with the curriculum or with the teacher, let's say, performance, is to make sure that the students, they have the right competencies or understanding what does it mean to be green? I mean, if you add the word green in front of something, it doesn't necessarily become green, right? It means like about the carbon footprint. It's more about like how different type of actions affect, let's say, yourself and your region and your globe in general. So I think about the fossil fuel or roles of them. So here, definitely, it's more about understanding that what are the outcomes of the use, meaning that definitely the different type of carbon footprints by different type of the energy, right? So energy sources. So understanding that on one hand, yeah, this is a very simple task when you just tell to the kid, like, look, if you use oil or if you use gas, then that's the amount of the carbon emission you cause. But I think task is a little bit much more complicated because you tell off to the side of it, like what are the restrictions and how we can solve the issue, having in the mind the restrictions as well. Because this is, I think, the kind of the part of the story which will be the true type of approach for the classroom. So in a very basic level, because in education, you know, we have a different kind of levels. So first level is just understanding that when you use this or another source of energy, whether it's fossil, whether it's renewable, what is the different outcomes, what type of different outputs actually here maybe you cause, and what type of the emissions you cause, and how does it affect, or what are the consequences of your action. And of course, then when higher you go, then you are coming to the levels of like judgment, you come to the level of the restrictions, like well, if I want to do it, what are the, let's say, my limitations and how I can make sure. So that's why when I call attitude, it's not only about the knowledge that the use of 1 liter of the petroleum is this amount of carbon. It's also the matter of that, what's my position as a citizen, what's my position as a part of the, let's say, part of the global citizenship and so on, that what will be my contribution to the common goal, which we call, let's say, greener world or the better, let's say, climate and so on. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. We now move on to the high-level champion. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to be joined by Excellencies, the Minister Emin Amrullayev, Minister of Education of the Republic of Azerbaijan, His Excellency Mr. Sahil Babayev, Minister of Labor and Social Protection of Population, and His Excellency Mr. Teymur Musayev, Minister of Health of the Republic of Azerbaijan, and also my dear colleague Jale Ibrahimova from COP29 Presidency's Action Agenda team. And this press conference will be focused on, as you already know, on Presidency's initiatives on human development. My colleagues and I will discuss Azerbaijan's efforts to address the interconnectedness issues of human development and climate. We will host a further press conference I think at 3:30 in the same room to discuss the halfway point in the summit. During this press conference, my colleagues will provide an update on the status of the talks. So I would like to kindly ask you to reserve your questions related to the negotiated agenda until then. Dear ladies and gentlemen, education, skills, health and well-being are essential to ensuring that people can contribute to addressing the climate crisis. Climate change means irrevocable change to how we live as humans. It affects our safety and prosperity. It affects our consumer behavior and quality of life. One thing is clear, it's not business as usual and everyone is affected. So what should be done? Obviously, this is talked a lot about. We should introduce relevant green education programs to raise awareness and acceptance of need to act on climate. But another no less important task is to raise a generation both conscious of climate and implications of our actions on it, but also a generation which possesses right set of skills and resilience to manage and prosper in this environment. Our agenda should be also focused on technological progress aimed at improvement of efficiency of how we produce, supply and consume, along with self-imposed rules in respect of curbing mindless and greedy actions which jeopardize our future. Several COPs have addressed the element of human development as they relate to climate change. Health, education, skills, jobs, children and youth, and climate change are interrelated issues. And we would like to have the holistic view of that. So that's why we will have first Holistic Human Development Day today. The outcome of today's session will seek to bring together stakeholders from international organizations, multilateral development banks, and others. By bringing these actors together, we aim to establish cooperation and coherence between agencies on climate and human development, and we are creating a permanent platform to promote dialogue and catalyze investment. After this morning's high-level event, we issued the Baku Guiding Principles of Human Development for Climate Resilience and accompanying joint statement. These principles will form the foundation of ambitious action for human development. On health, we are officially launching the COP presidency's Coalition for Climate and Health. This coalition will seek to embed health within the climate agenda. And on education, we will support the development of new PISA metric on environmental literacy. Children and youth have been a cross-cutting theme of our entire agenda. And last week, Azerbaijan joined over 50 other countries in signing the Declaration on Children, Youth, and Climate Action. Ladies and gentlemen, with this first Human Development Day, we seek to establish the strong foundations of a holistic approach to development and climate change at future COPs. We encourage all relevant stakeholders to view these issues as interconnected as they consider solutions and contributions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We now hear remarks from His Excellency Sahil Babayev, Minister of Labor and Social Protection. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, esteemed guests, dear press representatives. So we have today elaborated the multi-dimensional impact of climate change. We have talked a lot in the previous week regarding green economy, green infrastructure, and so on. We today mainly focused on the green jobs, green skills, and where and how we can enhance the skills and competences for the green jobs and related areas for the human resources that we need to develop to mitigate those changes. We have evaluated the practice of various countries, and the relevant ministers as well as the international organizations presented their view on how to develop the skills, how to develop the competences, and how to mitigate the need and necessity that will come with the climate change. And of course, as a very important part of the climate change impact, we touched the issue of the sustainable and resilient social protection in order to mitigate the impact on the vulnerable groups, on women, on young people, on disabled people. And of course, Azerbaijan in its policy pays a very big attention to this issue. Azerbaijan focuses on the development of the relevant vocational training and education systems. We cover almost all regions of Azerbaijan to enhance the green skills as well, especially in the areas of Karabakh and Sharghi Zangezur. We heavily invest on the skill development of the resettled people. On the other hand, we introduce various projects and programs for the young, for women, for disabled people. And just in the last 2 years, we managed to, for the job placement as well as the other active employment measures, was the placement of the around 17,000 disabled people, around 90,000 women, and another 90,000 of young people. So climate change will affect everyone. Climate change will fundamentally affect the labor market, new jobs, new opportunities, green jobs will be emerging. And of course, we have to prepare our labor resources to those changes. We need to deepen the skills and competences in the green economy. We have to deepen and enhance our network of the training mechanisms, and we have to involve more and more private and public institutions to this network. Today, we are cooperating around 140 private and public institutions for the vocational education and training of our labor resources. And we do think that in the coming years, the investment toward this direction should be enhanced. Thank you very much. Any questions, any details, I will address afterwards.
Thank you very much, Minister. Now we hear remarks from His Excellency Teymur Musayev, Minister of Health. Please.
Thank you, esteemed audience. For me, a big honor to greet you in Baku, Azerbaijan, in the frames of COP29. I would give just two very short statements regarding health during climate change. The first one, the words of the Secretary General of WHO, Dr. Tedros, who stated that climate crisis is a health crisis. And second statement is health is not negotiable. So based on these two statements, all the activity during climate change can be built up, and we believe that it should be strengthened through three main pillars. The first pillar is development of healthcare workforce through changes in education of medical professionals. Second is implementation of new technologies and, of course, digitalization. And the third one, implementation of new economy principles in the healthcare to build up green economy within the healthcare. For the first position, the main step is educational reforms. So from this year in Azerbaijan, second-year medical students at Azerbaijan Medical University taught the subject climate change and health. We believe that continuous medical education based on modern technologies could incredibly support quick and fast implementation of this idea, and we initiated and supported digital platform, WHO Academy, that will be open next month in Lyon, through which all the medical professionals all over the world will have access to these resources. So the time we need to upgrade the knowledge of healthcare workforce participants is very short. So in a short period of time, we can succeed our goals. The second, implementation of new technologies. Just last year in Azerbaijan, we host WHO conference dedicated to hospital management. And the idea of green hospitals system implementation was discussed during this event. And we believe that gradually, for the next 5 years, that project can be absolutely realistic. Third, green economy, as my colleague mentioned, this is multi-sectoral approach, needs really detailed implementation plan, and we think that within integrative and holistic approach that today actually we have first ever Human Development Day within the COP event, showing that all engaged agencies are ready to discuss this subject and to come out with really, really implementable steps. Just in a couple of hours, we will sign very important letter of intent establishing the Baku COP President's Continuing Coalition for Climate and Health. This platform that will be co-led by Azerbaijan and our esteemed partners, the United Kingdom, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, and Brazil, will let us to enhance all the efforts done so far and provide necessary efforts to support all the initiatives we've had so far. So please, feel free to ask any questions, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. So we have time now for questions. Also to let you know, we have interpretation in Azerbaijani, and you can then also ask your question in Azerbaijani. As the high-level champion pointed out, there is another press conference of the COP President Babayev at 3:30, and in this press conference, all questions on the negotiations will be answered. Let's get started. The lady here in the first row.
Chichai Jahangirli from A News. My question is to Mr. Sahil Babayev. So the transition to a green economy highlights the need for the development of a corresponding workforce and adaptation of existing skills. What measures are being undertaken in this regard? Thank you.
As I mentioned, the transition in the economy, the green economy, green infrastructure, green jobs will need green human resources with the relevant skills, competences in the green field, in the addressing the relevant change, addressing the challenge that will come on. Therefore, development of the skills and competences is very essential. And on this dimension, in addition to the education system of each government, each country, we added also the vocational training centers across the country in Baku, in Karabakh, in northern part of Azerbaijan, in southern part of Azerbaijan. Today we already have 5 vocational training centers, as well as we'll add another 5 in the coming years. So we'll cover all the country for the relevant vocational training mechanisms. Today, in a year, we are managing to train around 15,000 our citizens to meet the demands of the market on the vocational training. And we're focusing more and more on the green skills and green competences. But of course, it's not a kind of one-off training or one-off addition. During the lifetime, the change, climatic change, as well as the skills and competences needed in line with that will increase. And of course, we will mitigate the need for the competences in an adequate way. We do think that education system, training system, vocational education system should be a constant, should be a lifelong learning. And with the emerging of the new challenges, with the emerging of the new needs for the new skills, for the new competences, those should be addressed. And of course, we should pay particular address to the relevant social protection system as well. Through the active employment mechanisms, through the passive support mechanisms, all those mechanisms should be supporting those vulnerable groups that will be facing more and more challenges with the relevant evolution in the jobs on the labor market.
Next question. The lady in the back, please.
Hello, my name is Prachi Shevgaonkar. I'm a young climate innovator from India. I'm the founder of an app for climate action called Cool the Globe. And my question is, when I started working on climate change at the age of 18, I didn't even know it was possible to have a career in this. In fact, I remember my grandmother saying to me, "You are working in the environment, how are you going to earn money?" So how is this space like for young people in Azerbaijan? We talked about creating green jobs, but also are we doing something to create green entrepreneurs, green climate innovators, and how can other climate innovators from countries like ours collaborate with young climate innovators from Baku?
Who would you like to address the question to the minister?
Yes.
You mean climate innovators or entrepreneurs?
Both.
Entrepreneurs or both of them?
Yes.
Okay. So actually, this is an important issue. I think it's more relevant to the theme of the last week that we have talked about. It's more linked to the green economy. In the green economy, we have to stimulate the green jobs, the green entrepreneurs, green innovators, and green businesses. Because without stimulating them, without investing to this, we'll face always the bigger and bigger gaps. Because traditional businesses, they are well established today. They are more in advantageous way, but climate change will force us to go more to the green jobs. And therefore, stimulative measures of each government should be enhanced. The packages allocated to this should be increased. Now, we have good news. We have a news that big countries, developed countries are increasing their package, financial package to the developing countries. We have a good news that multilateral financial institutions, they are increasing their packages. But is it enough? Of course not. We have to increase ambitions. We have to increase our active promotion of these projects, and we have to increase the awareness about the public. Because just advocating green jobs, green economy, or green businesses in the level of the government, in the level of the kind of a small groups of the businessmen will not give us a very big burst of this type of actions in the society. We have to advocate it from schools, from institutes, where a new business people, business-oriented people, business-minded people, or inventors are emerging. All of them should be aware about the climate change. All of them should be aware about the opportunities that climate change opens. Because any challenge, any crisis, simultaneously opens big opportunities. And if we advocate relevant campaign, raising the awareness between the youth and child that are coming, I think that more and more greener inventors will have, more and more greener entrepreneurs will have, and more greener small and medium-scale businesses will have. Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for one more question. The lady in the second row, please.
Good afternoon, Aygün Cerçeva from APA TV. I have a question for Timur Musayev. As we know, today an important document on presidential cooperation on climate change will be signed. So how it will influence the dynamics of processes related to climate change and health? Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, we are not starting from the scratch. So taking in consideration all previous efforts and intentions, initiatives like COP26 attached, COP27, ICANN, or COP29, guiding principle for financing climate and health solutions. So these initiatives that is going to be signed today, the letter of intent, will provide synergism in implementation all the efforts we had in the past. So it will not let us to forget all the initiatives we had in the, up to now. First, the coalition will strengthen ambitions to enable transformative implementation and initiatives and improving synergy between them. So up to now, what we've seen that integrative approach, although was pronounced several times, but especially with a health subject, just today, we have first ever, as I mentioned before, Human Development Day. So all components of human life come to synergism, and for this we need this letter of intent. And second, of course, we must ensure the delivery of pledged finance for health issues. For sure that green economy, quite a huge part of it consists on healthcare. And the component of healthcare that will suffer most from the climate change is primary healthcare. And enough fundings that should be delivered to this part in order to prevent and to support and to provide sustainable and resilient primary health care should be provided. These two components really that reflects necessity of implementation of this initiative, especially from healthcare view. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you very much again for your patience and apologies for the delay today. As I mentioned, the next press conference of the COP presidency is scheduled at the moment for 3:30 in this room. We need to see how the plenary goes, but we hope to see you later at 3:30. If not, please watch out. We will make announcement in case of any changes. Thank you. See you later.